As Bitcoin bottomed, stocks looking like they might try to reverse, but still choppy landscape. Altcoins look like they could finally be setting up for some upside price action. Bitcoin, I think we might be in for a world of a wonderful summer, but we have to look at the charts. We have to look at the data. Altcoins, Avax, ONDO, Aerodrome, and so many other coins, Solana, XRP, so many coins are looking like they're in process of potentially trying to reverse. But we also had Mantra have a $6 billion washout yesterday. What does this mean for the market? Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, get this retweeted over on the socials. I just retweeted it live on X on @Kellam and also @Academy BitLab. Let's get into it. How y'all doing? How you feeling? Drop a 1 in chat if you are here, if you're alive, if you are ready to get this going. Let's go. Let's talk about it. What a weekend of news back and forth chopping with Trump suggesting, or maybe the news coming out that we might be getting exemptions on smartphones and chips and technology stuff. And then that getting walked back on Sunday by Howard Lutnick. And then last night also Trump saying, there's no exemptions on these. There's a lot of chopping back and forth. We want to make sense of it because when we dive in to the charts, what are we seeing? We're seeing the same thing. Bitcoin's sitting in a beautiful zone right now. This bounce that we were getting, see this red line, lower lows as we see right here on the RSI, higher lows as we see right here. I shared this on my X account of I think it was 5 or 6 days ago, and this has played out beautifully so far. And look at where price is. It's basically sitting right in the downtrend resistance. We're really watching this zone directly above us. Roughly, we could actually drag this down just a little bit deeper, come down into the 88s all the way up here to about 95, 96. I can actually go a little bit bigger. And yes, it might be frustrating that this is a fairly large box, but however, you have to realize we're paying attention to all of these lows right here, which is kind of right in the middle of this, the median sort of zone that we're watching. But we have these highs, this almost immediately previous range highs right here just before, and then we have the range lows of this large basically topping formation here that we did see break down, and then we have this zone here, and this is also in line with what we saw when we're looking at the liquidation heat maps, seeing this large zone. Where is this? In the 88s all the way up here into basically $89,000-$90,000, where there's a lot of liquidity that's sitting directly overhead of where we're at right now. Does this mean we might come up here and fill this and then reverse back down? What is going on? We're going to be diving into this today. We got a couple guests coming on today. I'm not sure if Kevin's coming on, but we got somebody else also coming on from Milk Road, which is a major, crypto newsletter, publication, data, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to have them on here in just a little bit. But when we look at this, what are we seeing? 2.67. It's kind of hovering around that $2.7 trillion mark. And when we go this on the 7-day mark, I mean, look at this. We're seeing Fartcoin up 76%, but JASMY is another one of those coins that has a bit of a breakout that we're going to be looking at today. Helium up 46%, Hype up 43%, 41%. We are seeing some signs of life in the charts. Now, when we look at this on the 24-hour, we're also still seeing some upside price action, even ETH making a bit of a move. So what gives? What are we looking at today? Everybody, make sure you are heading up over to the @Kellam page right here, and or @Academy BitLab. You see that it is live right here. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. Let's get these out. If we can get this over 30, let's do 30. Let's do over 30 retweets and we will do a giveaway, which we will draw tomorrow. So let's see. We'll check this at the end of the stream to see if we're over 30. And by tomorrow, I'll do this. If it's over by 30, at the end of the stream, we will do a giveaway tomorrow. If this is by tomorrow when we go live, if this is over 40, an additional 10, then we will do 2 giveaways. So hit that retweet, hit that like button right there. This is on my page @Kellam or @Academy BitLab, and it's just crypto bounce targets. Boom, right here. Hit that retweet. Show some love. We got Givers Gain in the chat. How you doing? It's a Crypto Billy crew and everybody over there. Givers Gain 111. Shout out to you, my friend. Big love to you. I'm so excited getting closer to Vegas, being able to hang out and meet with everybody. But everybody's wondering right now, what's going on? My tariffs aren't working. Have you tried turning them on and off again? There's a lot of frustration in the charts right now. So we've got to talk about what this means, what's going on, because we're seeing other things outside of tariffs as well. Department of Homeland Security, El Dorado Task Force launched an inquiry into the Anchorage Digital Bank. This is interesting for a couple reasons. We kind of thought we were ending this Operation Choke Point 2.0. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be actions that are taken if there's reason to do so. In this case, this unit targets international money laundering and is known for aggressive, proactive investigations. This is also important because we see BlackRock named Anchorage as a custodian for their ETFs last week. So this could have wider impacts. We're going to keep tracking this. This is just coming out. So just put this on your radar for something to pay attention to. Beyond that, what do we see? We see a massive signal of a crash inbound, massive crash inbound. But when you look at the data, this chart is actually inverted. If you were looking at this as a bearish chart, as a bear, you'd say, yeah, this is going to break down. And what this is showing is rejection, rejection, rejection. But when you zoom in on this, what do you notice? Smaller numbers on the way down. They're getting higher, 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 higher. This is actually an inverted chart showing the likelihood of the same thing. The next move is likely going to be the direction that this is pointing, which is if this is inverted, this would mean a major pump is likely in store. Now, continuing on, what do we see? What could be the magnet that could pull us to the upside? Is this the calm before the storm? Well, when you look at the tracking of the global M2, the global liquidity, the fuel for the vehicle to light the rockets to push those bulls higher. Well, we are seeing M2 global liquidity breaking to new all-time highs. And what do we see with the Bitcoin price? Tracking this with a bit of a delay, but coming down and dropping here. This would be akin to kind of dropping in these zones here. This dip, dip right here, dip, dip. And this next move started to push up. Will Bitcoin start to get that liquidity magnet pushing it to the upside as global liquidity starts to trickle in to the different risk asset ecosystems? My guess is absolutely yes. The question is going to be when and how long between now and when it happens, and are you positioned? Do you already have your positions in this market? And are you continuing to stack? Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you do think we are going to push up between now and the end of summer, or if you think we're going to have to wait all the way through the summer before we get this magnet slingshot to the upside. Either way, I do think it's coming. It's just a question of when. Now, going further, what do we see? Tariff exemptions. Oh, okay. But no, maybe there's not exemptions. My takeaway from these is these back-to-back tariff posts. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen is right here, alleviating the market meltdown near term, but also maintaining leverage to bring people to the negotiation table. Saying, yeah, it's going to happen, but no, it's causing a little bit of, hey, there's bullishness here, but we're not fully ready to soften our stance. And then we also see right here, same thing, Commerce Secretary Lutnick on tariff exclusions. This is not a permanent exemption. So we're getting the back and forth, AKA keep things uncertain until a new trade deal, all the new trade deals are sorted and the Fed actually cuts. Take advantage of this uncertainty in markets right now, especially in Bitcoin and crypto. My words to you, not financial advice, but strategy advice. We are getting the blessing right now of the market confusion that's getting just pervasively just stirred into the market. And those that are paying attention are taking advantage of this uncertain timeline so they can stack in to positions. And if you can't stack, that's okay. If you're aware of the uncertainty and also the higher likelihood of this market exploding higher sometime this year, well into next year, then I would be taking advantage of just being patient. Get away from the charts if you don't have dry powder to deploy. Sometimes just being aware helps quell your fears and makes you not make stupid decisions in this market. Furthermore, we got Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon warns of a treasury market trouble, sees Fed intervention similar to 2020 before Bitcoin surged. We're kind of setting up. This is exactly what I was just talking about. I do think there's going to be a higher likelihood as we look at that global liquidity ticking up. We look at economic pressures. We look at the guarantee of fiat that it's going to print. The only thing you can do in this world to maintain at least even at an equal footing, not even to expand, is to outpace inflation. You have to invest. There's no other. You cannot even put it in in a traditional savings account and keep up with not having your dollar devalued. you have to invest in some capacity. Have to. Now, whether you're doing it in, something like a Vanguard index fund or Bitcoin or a combination of the two, or all Bitcoin or Bitcoin and alts or all alts, you all have to make your own decisions. But the point here is that inevitability is the guarantee that fiat's going to print. So what are you doing to capture that volatility so you can expand your money and not be devalued over time? That is the question right now. And you have to ask yourself, how much risk do you want to take on? And it is risk. Even to put money in a savings bank, a savings account, that is a type of risk that inflation is going to outpace your savings, thus not even really being a savings account. Does that make sense? We have to make sure that we are navigating these global confusions in the market right now in a very real way. We need to make sure that we do not get caught in this chop, and also not caught not doing anything. But what do we see? We see MicroStrategy adding again today. 3,459 Bitcoin, about $286 million worth of Bitcoin. They're now up to 531,000 Bitcoin. And if you come over to my page right here, go Kellam. Let's see, boom. What did I say yesterday? I said, this is actually the example of what it looks like to have an effective strategy. And it doesn't matter what the price is doing. Perfect example of adding to winning investments. Bitcoin strategy for the win. And look at all these orange dots here where Michael Saylor and, MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy, these are all the places that they bought. This is an actual DCA strategy where it's just adding. And look at this. This is where it got really heavy. This is also when it became there's a bit of a proof in the pudding factor here with MicroStrategy, seeing how well their stock's done and also their availability and appetite for the MicroStrategy now strategy. They also have the MSTY and the MSTR. They have a number of different Bitcoin products, yield products, investment products. There's a huge appetite for what they're doing. So they're also able to raise more money, and they're also taking advantage of buying at tops, yes, and also in dips, just as regularly as they can. And this is incredible to see. It's a great roadmap for other companies out there, which we're seeing. Similar Scientific, we're seeing MetaPlanet, we're seeing GameStop, and the list is only going to get longer and longer. And those that act the earliest, whether it be a corporation building a Bitcoin strategy or you yourself having a strategy for how you are investing your money and taking advantage of riding this wave of this event horizon that we're in right now, that's going to change entirely what the future digitally is made up of. The world that we're stepping into with blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin, altcoins, the time is now. So you got to ask yourself what you're doing. Continuing on, we also see RWAs saw a bit of a spill yesterday in some regards, but there's also some incredible opportunities present. We had Mantra yesterday completely melt down, and it was a pretty damn big meltdown. I mean, look at this meltdown right here. This is about a 96%, almost immediately. If you come down here, let's go to the 2-hour chart. Look at this 2-hour chart within one candle. I mean, this is a major. One candle did 91%. You can actually see from the bottom to the bottom of that wick, 93% drop in one 2-hour candle. And everybody's still trying to decipher what's going on. I have a contact in with the CEO of the Mantra team that may be popping on here today. Maybe I have him on tomorrow. I know he's got a lot that he's dealing with. And there's a lot of questions about was it a rug? Was it something nefarious? Was it something from internally the team? Was it market makers? Was there other investors that had large amounts that had a centralized exchange close an account that forced one liquidation that then triggered? This is just at the bottom line. You have to remember, as bullish as you can be on any asset in the crypto ecosystem, with where we're at, with what we saw with Luna, now what we're seeing here with Mantra, OM, you have to make sure outside of Bitcoin that you are diversified to protect yourself, because as great as something can be, there's this ecosystem still getting built. You have to make sure that you're not just all in with your life savings because you know this guy that hasn't enough. You need to make sure you're diversifying. If you are investing in altcoins, you are essentially a venture capitalist. And every venture capitalist you ask, they don't pick one asset and they throw all their money at it. A lot of them can have 3, 5, 8, 12, 17, 20 different things that they're They're diversifying their risk and also taking advantage of, the 1 out of 20 or the 1 out of 50 that absolutely pops. Now, where we're at right now with the rest of the ecosystem, coming back over to this, what do we see? I mean, Link, ONDO, AERO, DAG, Avax, ETH, all of which I think have an incredible shot at dominating this narrative right here. Estimated growth in tokenization through 2033. RWA tokenization expected to basically $18.9 trillion in value between now and 2033. And ETH is going to be the major player there because it's the largest crypto ecosystem. There's so much that's built on top of that. Chainlink is also going to be a very major player within the RWA narrative, also doing RWAs himself, as well as being an Oracle provider for establishing the authenticity of value, amongst other things. And you have ONDO with incredible partnerships. And I mean, everything that they're doing, bringing essentially markets to be global markets and tokenized assets. And you got Aerodrome, which is the DEX on the base ecosystem, but beyond it just being a DEX on the base ecosystem, they're also looking at potentially, one, they're processing all the wrapped Bitcoin transactions on Coinbase to the base ecosystem, which is going to be major boom for Bitcoin DeFi and Bitcoin DeFi type of products and functions. But then beyond that, AERO may also be moving in to providing transactions for foreign exchange of currencies, the Forex markets, which would be absolutely major. We're going to have to dive in a little bit more deeply on that, but that is incredible. Then you got Constellation DAG. I still think is one of the most hidden gems in the crypto ecosystem. Why? Because they've already had long-standing at this point contracts with the Department of Defense, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Space Force, what they're doing with the U.S. Transcom, the Treasury. They already have the foot in the door with the U.S. government, and they're getting invited to the digital blockchain summits and the digital asset summits, all these things there, rubbing shoulders with all the people that matter. And they're already working with people in government, establishing this paradigm shift from old world analog inefficient to how do we get things on chain? How do we do things in a trustless way that's verifiable and transparency? Constellation DAG kind of has a bit of a leg up in that regard, having these contracts. In addition to that, we have AI. What do we have with AI? We have issues now with AI. Is this video real? Is this image authentic? Where is the proof? Where is the evidence that these things are, where's the verification in this data that I'm seeing or sharing? It's going to be a major and growing issue as we step into the age of AI getting integrated into our everyday lives. Well, Constellation DAG, beyond all their other contracts, also just rolled out something called proof of evidence. And I think this is going to be a major impact, whether they're fully utilized for it or it's going to be a model for other blockchains to also highlight and do in their own regard, so that we can see what is the provenance of this data, what's the authenticity of it, and has it been tampered with? Is it legit? There's so much going on right now that it's kind of hard to keep track. So let's go back. Let's zoom out. Let's go back to the data. What do we see on Bitcoin? Bitcoin is kind of sitting right now under a key level cloud with the 200-day moving average, which is this line right here. You see it flashing on and off. We got the 21-week moving average, which is this line right there. You see it flashing on and off. And then the short-term holder cost basis. We're sitting right under all three. And the important thing, the reason why I think this is important is because we've seen, this is similar to what we saw with the death cross. It's supposed to be the end, right? Well, we had a death cross back here. We had a death cross here. And both of these proved to be times that price action exploded higher out of these zones. Similarly, these aren't death crosses. These are other moving averages. And we're seeing, look, should be over under the 200-day moving average, under the short-term holder cost basis. Launch. Same thing happened here. Boom. And now we're doing the same thing again. But this area right here lines up. If we zoom in on this, can I move this a little bit? Let me see. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Let me zoom in on this. We can see right here, we've got $93,000. 21-week moving average, as well as a short-term holder cost basis, I believe. Yeah, 92,000. So when we come back over to the price and we're seeing these levels, look, 88,000. Where did I mark? 88.4, all the way up to up here in the 95.3. So we have this low and then this range low right here. And in addition to all this, we have those important moving averages that are going to kind of be a little bit of a barrier of, If we don't get over this, it could get much worse in terms of a bear sense. If we get over this zone, especially back test it and then launch from there, then you're going to see a lot more confidence come back in the bulls. Now, let me say that again. Very important thing to recognize with the price action as it is right here. We have the bullish divergence as outlined with the RSIs here, higher lows, the lower lows here on the price action. We discussed this potentially being a bounce point. We got it. We're not out of the woods yet. We want to see what happens in this zone right here. We'd like to see this break through and at some point come back and back test this. After this back test and is defended by the bulls, if we start to launch, this is where you start getting a lot more bullish confidence come back into the market and exuberance and likely very explosive price action to the upside. That's something I want you to pay attention to and pay attention closely. Now, continuing on, what else we got? The capital flow, baby. We talked about this coming down into this, testing this zone right here. What do we see? Tested it, continued up. This is what we're trying to emulate, something similar to what we're seeing here. The retest back to zero, retest back to zero, retest back to zero, retest back to zero. Each time the expansion of capital coming into the Bitcoin market expanded higher each time, giving us that huge sort of parabolic run that we saw in 2017. Similarly, look at this, even here, retested back to zero, and getting these large expansions to the upside of capital coming into the market. So we got this double top, kind of what we see right here in the early part of the bull market. Now we've come back a retest at zero. It doesn't mean we can't break down from here, but currently the forward-looking outlook on Bitcoin is only getting more bullish by the day. The fact that the price is not running away right here is something we should be grateful for how bullish the future is lining up to be with all this new data, with all the government agencies in the world and banks. Now, I wish it was all only self-custody by individuals. But the fact that these major players are getting involved, let's do our part by also making sure we maintain our own self-custody. However, we can also ride that wave of when this new adoption really starts to have exponential waves from all these major, not only governments, but institutions, financial products. All these things are going to drive massive waves of adoption. And those that are stacked are going to stand to have the best benefit in this market. Furthermore, we've seen, look at this, over to you, bears. We're seeing this sort of resetting of the basically volatility fear metric here. When this peaked so high, that was a market cycle bottom. When this peaked so high, when was this? COVID. That was a great reset point. And this is the tariff reset. Boom, right here. Very similar, that outlined a great leading indication before the market exploded to the upside. So let's pay attention right now and not get complacent, because it's not making us excited because it's not pushing up in this moment. Great. Go and stack while you got the chance, baby. And then we got, I think Kevin should be coming on. I'm not sure though, but Kevin's chart right here is showing a beautiful breakout of attempt of the RSI here on the weekly chart. What does this say? Bitcoin weekly RSI breakout. Once confirmed, weekly RSI breakout signals have proven to be among the most reliable macro breakout indicators. So we're seeing this. These are all the breakouts, the green bars, boom, green bar, green bar, green bar, green bar. What was a price action doing at those times? RSI broke out, price action, nice move to the upside, some consolidation until the RSI was able to cool off again. The breakout, incredible move to the upside. Okay, we had to consolidate. 7 months. If you could be patient for 7 months here, there's over 100% move. Look at this, under $50,000. It went to about $49,000. The RSI, after all that, we're seeing the RSI bottoming, boom, boom, double bottom, and then the breakout right there. This alone was a great signal that something was brewing, and then we ended up moving. Even if you missed this zone from 49 all the way up here into 60, great, be a little bit more cautious. But then you got the back test, boom, launch from about 60,000 up to 109,000. Now, again, what is the RSI doing? The RSI has had chance to cool off. It's almost like it sprints, and then it's got to sit down and have some water. That's what's happening. Just having some water, relaxing, refreshing your legs and your muscles. And what do you see with the RSI? The strength gets weak, right? But I call this strength returning, because when RSI is away, like you've used too much of your energy, the RSI has a chance with this consolidation and pullback RSI, the strength has a chance to reset itself. Now you have the explosive moves for the strength to push to the upside, which also gives you that fuel for the moves to actually have explosive move to the upside. In addition to the fact that we have the global liquidity, the global M2 just exploding higher and higher. So we're seeing the right things right now. We're seeing what we want to see right now so that we can, one, reset before the move so that when the move comes, we've got room to go. That's what we got to be paying attention to. But yeah, Alexander G says, subscribe, like, share. Big love to each and every one of you. Reminder, if you want to, participate in the giveaways that we do here, head over to my page right here at Kelly Kellam. Make sure you are spelling it correctly. LLYLLAM. There's so many fake accounts out there. Make sure it's got all this stuff. 40,000.4 followers. Don't follow the 100 different scam accounts. There's so many fake accounts with me. But come right here, hit that retweet. There's got to be more than 3 people that retweeted this. Come on, you guys got to get some activity in this motherfucker. Come on. 13, yeah, hit that, get this up to 30. We'll do a giveaway, which we're going to be drawing tomorrow. We draw from these randomly from those that are participating here. And shout out to the 303 people watching on X. Hit that like button, show some love. Now, continuing on, what else we got? We got some more stuff. Another bullish chart. Everything is pointing towards a huge bull market. I agree. Life-changing gains could be coming very soon. What do you guys think? This is what we saw on this golden cross here. And I'm not sure what this is actually. I don't know if this is on balance volume or what this is. But this metric on these golden crosses has marked massive moves to the upside. And we just got another one right here as we've just been consolidating for a bit too. I do think the setup is here. I do think it's here. We just got to be a little bit more patient. The market can remain irrational, scary, choppy, longer than most people can remain solvent, especially as this market is on the wave of about to have a huge amount of adoption. Well, what else we got? From Titan to crypto, momentum flip. What does this show? The LMACD. Moving average convergence divergence. Long story short, you're seeing the shifting momentum, bullish expansion or bearish expansion or contraction. See, this is bullish expansion. You see these waves going up. This is really just a measurement between the two moving averages on the MACD. When the faster moving MACD moving average start separating quickly, that distance between these two moving averages, that's what you're seeing on these histograms. You don't even need to look at those lines. But you see this, look at this, the flip right here, look at that nice move. The flip right here, look at that nice move. The flip, well, it's not there yet, but we're seeing the leading indication that we might be getting towards that flip. So it's all about identifying the setup to be prepared for when it happens, not always trying to catch the move in the middle of the move. If you are patient and paying attention to the data gives you leading signals. The data gives you leading signals. So let's just be aware of that. And shout out to all of the blockchain basement people that are rolling in right now. Big love to you. But this is setting up just like we want. We see the RSI. We see the golden cross. We see, I mean, here's the MACD on the bottom. You see it on the weekly chart rolling over. You see the RSI breaking out, as you see right here. The RSI breaking out from the zone, which has historically all been essentially right on at the edge of the leading indicator. RSI reset, much more room to grow. The breakout, boom, pop. Same thing. RSI reset, breakout of the zone, a lot more room to grow, boom, pop. And at the same time, we're seeing the MACDs really starting to roll over. The golden cross here on this moving average also suggesting all of these things are lining up. The data, not the hope, not the fear, the data is showing that we're setting up for a move. Are we stacked? Are you stacked? That's the question. And then we see, got to talk about our girl Avax. How many of you are Avax holders? Avax is doing some interesting things. And also they've been steadily building in the background. Their chain is fantastic. It's 3 different chains essentially. So you don't have bottlenecks from one use case or the other. So if you're processing transactions, or if you have basically DeFi settlement, or if you're doing, there's so many different things that is really cool about Avax. And I think they've been kind of left out of the narrative because Solana, whatever reason, is taking so much. And I like Solana, but Avax is on the verge of doing some great stuff. We see this beautiful descending resistance here. We also see a double bottom on Avax here at a level that was already identified. We'll pull up our chart here in a second, but on the cusp of this breakout. So this is what we're paying attention to. We're going to be looking at AVAX here in a second because we also see what I said it before, says Nikhil Chat, says AVAX is aggressively making its main chain cheap and performant for users and dApps. ACP 125 cut transaction fees by over 90%. This is going to be one of those competitive things moving forward. How cheap and how efficient can it be, and how much not only throughput, but what's the preventative measures so that you don't have downtime and you also have fast, cheap transactions. Octane, which is its most recent upgrade, cuts fees again by another 30 to 90%. Parallel EVM, which is Ethereum virtual machine, aka you can build dApps and stuff like that, and also run dApps that work on the ERC20 standard. High throughput database on AVAX soon. They're doing some major things here. So what does it look like when we are tapping in here? We're going to look at this chart here in a second. We also see Render, which I already had on the chart, which we're going to share in a moment, setting up. But they also have their RenderCon starting tomorrow. Render made a double bottom and breakout as mentioned. So let's go ahead and look at this because we're seeing a couple good signs, but it doesn't mean we're all systems go all the time, blah, blah, blah. We got the Dixie, the dollar breaking down, which should mean risk assets should start pumping. But because of all the uncertainty with tariffs, this is not giving a one-to-one direct correlation. We still could see the dollar come back up. We have a little bit, maybe throughout this month, maybe into next month, have a little bit of struggle in the markets. Is this, Bitcoin and stock markets and stuff like that. If this does move that, we just want to watch to make sure that this does get a rejection and come back down, and be a little bit more worried in terms of how we're positioning risk if the dollar does work its way back up into this zone of uncertainty or back up here into the risk dump zone. But we are seeing good signs of life. So when we look at this and we realize that the magnet of liquidity is above us, when we look at Bitcoin, it's still sitting in this beautiful falling wedge. It's held up, bounced on the bullish divergence. We're watching this zone right in here. What are our alts doing? Well, we got Ohm, had the big sell-off, and I hope we will get one of their team members on. But this, I would be a little cautious here. I wouldn't just buy expecting this to have like some massive pump and just completely reverse from here. This will take some time. Even if nothing nefarious happened, we need to have more data come out. There are questions, but that's a major sell-off. But what are we seeing in things that all of us are looking at and paying attention to? Ethereum finally back up and testing right into a descending level of resistance. We have this major zone, 1800 to 1950, this zone that we're watching directly above us. So even if ETH breaks out, we have to be careful this doesn't go like this. We have to pay attention. This is able to come out here. I don't expect it to break right through. Might take some work and do something like this. But this is going to be the zone that we really got to pay attention to. And then this zone up here in the 24 to 2600 marker on ETH. But we're seeing other signs. This is that avalanche. We talked about this last week. We talked about this rounding bottom, this start to a setup for a potential bottoming structure. And not only that, we have this sort of kind of broadening wedge here, descending broadening wedge with the W pattern on top of that. This is, broke through this neckline. We really want to see Avalanche get up above this 24, 25 zone before we start really feeling bullish. But even this whole zone right above us, $24 zone is going to be a little bit frustrating because you have to pay attention to this. We also need to pay attention to this next level up at 30. So this is that sort of, this is going to be exciting, but I think this area is going to be frustrating before it does make its next move. But this is a nice broadening wedge, W formation, kind of a double bullish signal here. I don't want to say double bullish, two different bullish patterns playing out simultaneously here if this can break through. The immediate level above us we're really watching is right here, the $22 to $23 region. And this is outlined by these tops and this tops. It is also, this is just what we're watching for right now. RSI looking like it's trying to take a breather. This is on the 8-hour, but it is kind of rolling over. But what does it look like on the 2-hour? Kind of a bit of a bull flag, but looking kind of a weak bull flag as it stands. We need to get this over this. If this does break down, it's not the end of the world. We're watching for an opportunity if price action comes back here to about 1846. If this bounces here, that would be great. If this loses this, then we might be coming down for a triple bottom or something like that. But we are starting to see the winds shift a little bit more bullish in the market. But then we see Aerodrome also breaking out of this channel. Aerodrome broke out of this channel. We had a deviation below, so be aware this is up. Currently, it could be a deviation above. We want to pay attention here on Aerodrome, especially if this does bounce and come up. This is the level that we're really watching on Aerodrome directly above us. 50 cents, 50.4 really. It's where this shelf of price action just bounce, 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 bounce. As it stands right now, I don't want to say hesitant. I'd be waiting for a little bit more signal here, breaking above the 47.2 right here, or coming back down and trickling back down into test basically the 39-cent zone, which is basically this previous range high right in here. But we also see XRP broke out. We've done this before though. Massive deviation up, another deviation up, found support, broke right back down into rejection, bounce, now we're back above, but we're not getting clear signal yet because look at where the price action is. The price action is right in the middle of this band that we've had on here for quite some time, all the way since back here in December. Currently, until we shake through this, these are those next levels we're watching. If XRP is able to explode higher, we're watching up here in the 247 to 257 range, right in here. The next level up we're watching is basically just under the $3 range, but this is starting to look good. But again, we're getting the back and forth about the tariffs and then the no tariffs and all your TA in some ways is broken right now. You can watch levels to be prepared for, but although this is looking good, notice the RSI is kind of pulling back. If we lose this, see this right on the 50-day mark? The 50% mark. If this starts losing down into there, then I'm expecting this also to come down and retest back down here and potentially all the way down here into about $1.90 for XRP. But again, everything right now is just either providing more opportunity for longer term gains or chopping you out. Now you just saw with Ohm wrecked some people that had too much allocation to that. And I'm not calling Ohm out for their team or this or that, but the truth is you never know when you're going to have a catastrophic failure in the crypto ecosystem. So although this is looking bullish, it's also looking a bit top heavy. This could go either way. We're waiting for what the narrative is going to be in markets. And I do think it's leaning more bullish as we get closer to the possibility of a rate cut and, acknowledgments of money printing in China. There's so much going on right now. Solana also, look, broke out of this descending trend line. Rejection, deviation, rejection. Oh, bounce, deviation below. But look at this. Now this is actually coming back up. It looks a little bit like an inverted head and shoulders with a very tiny shoulder here. But what are we doing? Just like XRP, price action is right in the zone where all of this chop is. I did not add this today. This was already here because we've been paying attention to the charts. What's up, Crimson? How you doing? Holla if you hear me. But this is looking, it's on the cusp. We'd like to see Sol break out of this and then launch. We did see signs, signals that the Canadian government might be looking to be prepared to be buying Solana especially with the Solana ETFs and stuff that are coming out. So I'm still bullish on Solana. As it stands right now, I think everything's very much in a holding pattern on the market right now. But if this does break down, it's nice that we're back above this box that we have right in this box right here. See this comes all the way back here to December 2023. Is that right? Yeah, December 2023. Wow, it's been that long we've been up here. That is just crazy. 475 days we've been trading in this sort of range local area. I didn't even notice that. Wow. But do notice this is a rounding top. There's still, as bullish as we are, just out of caution, this very well could bounce up into here, reject, and then, okay, let me go ahead and make this bigger. There we go. This very well could do something like this and, come down like this and work its way back down because this looks like a full cycle top. But with where we're at in just a crypto market in general, I put that at a lower likelihood. I think this will kind of buck that, more likely buck that, but I am prepared if it does do that breakdown deal. Link, kind of on the cusp, trying to break out of the zone. But it's just, I can't shake it. RSI is also looking weak here, unless we get a little bit of an explosive move. If we do, I'd be watching for the next target up here about 1495 to 1550. Basically this other horizontal zone that we've had marked out on here for some time. And look at this. If we zoom out on this, notice we got a couple lines right in here intersecting right in this zone. Massive downtrend resistance line. Let's go to the 3-day. That goes all the way back here to May 2021. May 2021, we've had rejection, we've had support, and now if this is able to bounce perfectly on this line that we've had, when this bounces, it's like, man, we're getting some solid zones outlined for everybody. On the 3-day, RSI does look like it's wanting to bottom and start having an explosive move to the upside. If we can get that, and with this descending pattern, this descending channel on Chainlink, let's actually kind of go like this, boom, and move this out like that. There we go. Descending channel. We have the price action butting its head up against, trying to break free, but also looks a bit like a double top. This could go either way. Why not give me an answer, Kelly? Because it could go either way. We have this bounce here. We have this bounce here. If this does get rejected, I'd be watching for opportunity right in this zone, right in here. If this can hold this. If not, then I do think we're coming back down into the 1050s. But things are on the cusp of starting to make their moves. I do feel like, especially going into the middle of this month, we may be having to wait all the way into the FOMC meeting. I don't know, which is May 7th, I believe. But render, see, this is descending, broadening wedge. Render is broken out, retested currently. It might be setting up to make that move, but what does it look like? This is on the 4-hour. Look at that beautiful retest so far, but currently looking weak as this is kind of got a bit of a lower high right here, and RSI is angled to the downside. This is a 4-hour. What does it look like on the 1-hour? 1-hour right here. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. And this is looking relatively weak on the RSI. This might be a push up also a little bit into this RenderCon that they have going on tomorrow. If they have great announcements and news that they roll out, this might be able to have a bit of a move up, but this is looking good with the caveat that it's resting on the laurels of everything else in crypto. And if there's not a good announcement or some big news or something that surprises people tomorrow at RenderCon, we might end up getting the sell-off coming back down into this 339 range. And if not that, then coming back down here to 293. But everything has bullish signals with bearish caveats right now. We're waiting for the actual breakout with, a confirmation and money flow and momentum authority. Right now, it's looking a little questionable on these coins. Curve also has a bit of a move. Curve, look, out of this range right here, finally broke past this previous range high. This is on the 1-hour, but this looks ugly as shit. This is Head and Shoulders right here. So it broke out with the immediate sort of topic signal that suggests this may be coming back down right here to test basically the 55 cents. If we lose that, then I do think we're coming back down into this region, down about 50 cents. But I'm not counting DeFi out, Aave, Curve, MakerDAO, Sky, because of the institutions now very much starting to get involved and becoming aware, and other players getting involved with just through ETFs, but then starting to get their sort of orange pilled into crypto pilled DeFi. There's a whole awareness growth that's going to happen in this space as people get in and realize the various tools that are available in the market. Then you got ONDO right at the cusp of trying to break out, but this looks like an ugly, it's like, ooh, it's like a boogeyman. It's like, you know what I mean? This does not look super bullish. We do have a bit of a trend line there. This is just ugly as it can be. RSI kind of angled to the downside. No, there's no real signal here. Market cipher, you have a momentum wave angled to the downside, but you have the VWAP trying to roll back up. You look at the BitLab trading stack on all the signals. They're all looking Very similar here. So look at this. RSI, stochastic angle down. Momentum wave tried to roll up, but it's already rolling back over. You can see the curvature of it. But negative money flow, VWAP angle to the downside. This is on the 1 hour. That's looking relatively weak. On the 4 hour, let's look. Yeah, 4 hours, it's also looking weak. Negative money flow, it's expanding. Momentum wave down. RSI is flat. Stochastics, very weak angle. There's no bull or bear sig. This is, everything's waiting, feeling like it's waiting on a cusp of doing something. Yeah, God. And then we got dog to the moon. How many people are dog holders? Of course, we got Bitcoin, we got Ethereum, Avalanche, Aerodrome, XRP, Sol, Link. For those of you that like to play, have some fun. This is the only coin that I hold that is not a blue chip. And in my mind, it's a blue chip of a meme coin because it's a culture coin for Bitcoin. And what do we see? Zooming out on dog, we have this downtrend, basically channel that is just giving better and better and better opportunities. Remember, there's no paid KOLs. There's no paid team members. This is a community coin. Every token was airdropped out to Runes holders, every token. So there's no increase in supply and inflation. No, everything's out. And so this is just giving these, great bounce zones all the way down into this, starting to round out here. On the 3-day, we still have negative money flow, which means there's still opportunity, potentially maybe even another drop to the downside in the near term. On the 4 hour, we're seeing it. It's broken out of this channel. We're right into the box that we had outlined here. I'd be watching for this to potentially come back down here to the 00134 zone because of this roundingness. But I'm not counting this out. I haven't sold a single dog. In fact, I'm even thinking about getting a dog here in where I'm living here in Atlanta. Get a little winter dog, a little dachshund. If I do, we'll have to bring him on stream. But the market in general has been having some pressure on it. So the fact that this has also had a bit of a drop doesn't bother me at all. I'm being patient. We saw this bounce perfectly. W formation came out, broke out. I'm watching these targets to the upside as the market does reverse and we get positive sentiment in the markets. And this potentially, has that move to the upside, as we're going to see across the board very soon. We also see Doge. So was it dog? Was it dog breaking down? Because look at Doge. Also, boom, came down, dropped, had the W formation. We also see, DOT came down, had the W formation. The markets are following very similar structures kind of across the board here and what's going on in the market. JASMY had a pretty big move to the upside. Look at this. Got a pretty nice trend line right in here. And this broke out. Look at this, having trouble. Rejection, breakout, find support, launch. And now it's in a nice, beautiful little bull flag right in here. Positive money flow. Stochastics came down to, this is an orange line. Stochastics came down, rounded. The VWAP, this is my only concern. The VWAP is angled up, but it's starting to roll over, meaning there's kind of getting some weakness going into the zone that it's in right now. So we want to make sure that this does not, on JASMY, become a Bart Simpson pattern and drop back down in here. And again, you cannot control what the market does. You can look at this and go, this is a bull flag. Get in now because I want to catch it before it does this. And then this ends up doing this and dropping. You're like, what the fuck? You've got to make sure that you account for various different things that play out in this market, because as the narrative might be shaping a bull flag, the context could shift on any asset or the broader asset class of investing in general, where the risk needle is. So you could have a very well-founded, perfect bull flag that just gets completely destroyed and drops right back down because you get a comment or a post or something for what's going on with Trump and the tariffs. And it's not isolated just to JASMY. This could be Ethereum. This could be Bitcoin. This could be any of those coins. And the smaller the market cap, the more easy it is to destroy those technical probabilities. But then, this is looking good. Nice breakout of the zone. I'd be watching the next target up here about 2.2 cents. But if this does get weak and break back down, I'd be watching for the bullish sort of pullback would be roughly about right there. This is that previous range high. But what does it look like with a fib? Measure from the top to the bottom, and look at that. That's right about where the 382 is. Let me turn off the volume. See, right about the 382. The next level down will be right here. The golden pocket, which would be another still great opportunity. We have to see how these things play out. BitTensor Tau. Nice move to the upside. And I'm actually happy about this because I want to add back to my position to Tau. Sold out of it quite a while ago. when price was somewhere, I think it was somewhere, let's see, where's January? This is January 25. I don't even remember where we sold out of it. It was somewhere it was somewhere up in this region, and the prices dropped, pretty majorly. But there was even a write-up about BitTensorTau and Forbes the other day about this being probably one of the best AI, deep in AI, infrastructure AI plays. Because we do have a broadening wedge. I'd be looking for, if this does kind of roll over, come down 212 sort of zone to purchase right in here, depending on what happens with the narrative in the markets over this week. Because yeah, look at this 2 hour. Look at this. The 12 hour. Oh, it's just kind of okay, maybe poop. But you look at this on the 2 hour. This looks like a head and shoulders, suggesting that move that we were just talking about. Here's the deepest part of the head. Measure it down to the neckline, and look at that. The breakdown point would be right to that 382 that I just highlighted. It just called out. So this would be a great maybe I'll put in some buy orders at this zone. I don't know, but feeling good, looking good. We got a lot going on in these markets right now. Everybody stay flexible, stay solvent. Make sure you can figure out what you're doing in terms of your strategy. Don't change your strategy because of hope or fear. Adjust your strategy based on the education you're having, and don't get triggered by the market movements, because the market movements might be literally constructed to trick you out. But let's see who's live right now, and let's see who we can send off some people to. Let's who's live right now. Let's go and see who's live. And we got to see if we're doing the giveaway. We're almost at the end of the show. So let me refresh this page right here. If you want to participate in the giveaway, basically $100 value, got to get 10 more. And even if we don't, if we get up to 40 of the retweets of this stream right here by tomorrow, then we'll do, let's see. That's upcoming. There's nobody live right now. I want to do a giveaway. I mean, I want to send you guys off to somebody that we like. Jason, let's go to Jason. Everybody drop. We're going to go to Jason Casper's page. As this show ends, it's going to automatically redirect you there. Or you can just go there now. Say, the BitLab fam's here. We got Jason Casper coming on, actually, this channel on Thursday. So let's go drop some BitLab love. Say something about BitLab fam here, something in the live chat over on Jason Casper. We're going to go there right now. Jason Casper, boom, right there. Let's go there, show some love. Let's go drop some BitLab love. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. That's all we got today in today's episode. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being my friend. That's right. Old school.